Hello students, we are again back with class 12 Business Studies chapter 2 Principle of Management. In this video, we are going to work out Fayol's Principle of Management. This is our part second. So first we work out with the history, that is who was Fayol and what was his contribution. Fayol was born in 1841 in France. He was a French mining engineer. After graduation, he joined a coal mining company as an engineer. Later on, in 1866, he was being promoted as a managing director of the company. At that time, the company was going through a very bad phase of bankruptcy. But because of the good management done by the Fayol, the company was able to recover and they were able to go for the profits. His contribution in management are termed as administrative management. He is also known as father of general and industrial management. He has contributed 14 principles of management, and also he has emphasized that the principles of management are not exhaustive but suggestive, means they are suggested that you can use in your organization. And principle of management are not rigid but flexible. Rigid means that cannot be changed, the one that can be changed according to the situation. He has divided the management in 6 groups. That is, first, the technical activities, that is production, manufacturing, all these things. Then commercial, buying, selling and exchanging. Then financial activities, that is financial planning, capital management. Then security, that is the protection of property and person. Then accounting, recording of transaction and compiling statistic and controlling. And the last, that is the managerial activities, that is planning, organizing, commanding and coordinating. So this was all about Henry Fayol and his contribution. After working with who was Henry Fayol and what was his contribution, let us work out the principles of management that he has given. The first principle is division of work. Under it, it is said the whole work must be divided into small tasks and allotted to various persons according to their experiences. It is said that whatever the work you want, it has to be divided into small tasks. And according to the experience of the people you are having, you should allot the duty to that person. It should not be that the full work is to be given to one person. See, what will happen if one person is being given the full work to be done, it will be a burden to that person. So it is being suggested that if you want your work to be done in effectively and efficient manner, you need to have the work divided into small tasks. Now we take an example. Suppose it's a manufacturing industry of a shirt. There will be one person who will be measuring the cloth, the another person drafting for it, the third person will be cutting the shirt, the fourth person will be preparing for the collar and the button, and the fifth person will be assembling it and stitching to the full. Each person will become specialized in whatever they are doing. So there will be less chances of mistakes, less chances of wastage, right? So what is the positivity? If we follow the division of work. If we follow the division of work, the positive effect is the person gets specialized. When a person keeps on doing repeatedly any work, even if you also do the work again and again, you will become master in that work. So a specialization is created. Then when you become specialized, automatically it improves your efficiency. Efficiency means in less of cost, you work more, right? Then when you become efficient, automatically there will be increase in output. See, in the same amount of raw material, you will be producing more of output because now the wastage is less. When the wastage is less, then the production is more. And The foremost, it reduces the workload of a person. The person enjoys doing the work, right? But if it is ignored, if it is violated, what will happen? First thing, there will be no specialization. A person doing all the tasks together will not be specialized in work and will not be able to give the benefit of specialization to the organization. The job for him will be complex and difficult. He will not enjoy the work. Then there is a chances of duplication or wastage of resources. See, when the things are not being in a effective and efficient manner, that means there is a wastage of resources. So here there is how the division of work helps an organization to go for the maximum output with the minimum cost. And this is to be followed at all the level, whether it's a top level, middle level or supervisory level. So division of the work is foremost required at every level. Now the second is authority and responsibility. Both authority and responsibility needs a balance. Now first understand what is the meaning of authority. It is the right to make the decision and get this implemented by the subordinates. And responsibility is the duty of a person to complete an assigned task. Means when a person is given authority, he can make the decisions. Whatever he wants, he can ask even the subordinates to do that. Whereas when it is responsibility, it becomes a duty to complete whatever is being asked. So the person who is having the responsibility also have the accountability. Accountability means answerable to the person who has given the task, right? So authority should always link as per the responsibility. Granting authority without responsibility leads to irresponsible behavior or misuse of the power. Means if authority and responsibility is not balanced, then what will happen? There will be irresponsible behavior by the person, right? At times, responsibility without related authority will lead to delay. Means if the responsibility is given but authority is not given, then what will happen? It will delay in the completion of work. As subordinates has to keep on asking at each step to his superior, and this will delay in work on time. So balance between the two is needed. We take an example. A managing director of a company has a double the target of production. Now what they have done is double the target of production means increase the responsibility of production department for the next year. Now if they have increased the responsibility of production for the next year, that means they should increase the authority also. But if they do not give the authority to appoint the new people, more people, see, if you want more of production, you need more of people who are going to work for you. Labor, foremen, all this. So if it is not, the power is not given for the appointment, how the production managers will be able to complete this task on time? So if we take the positive part, if the authority and responsibility is balanced, then what is the positive part? It prevents the misuse of authority, right? And there will be a quick decision. See, they don't have to go again and again and ask the superior what we have to do, what we have to do, what we have to decide about it. So the decision will be quick. So when decision is quick, the completion of work will be on time. Now what is the negative effect of violation? Means if you are not following the balance of both the things, what will happen? See, if more of authority given, it will be misused. If less of authority is given, the delay in decision making. And what will happen? It will overburden the responsibility, right? And this all messy work happening in an organization will reduce the confidence level of the employees. So the authority and the responsibility should go hand in hand for the successful completion of work on time.